Hey, my friend. I was recently interviewed by Leona Wang, an English teacher in China, and she asked me some great questions like what's the inspiration behind my songs, why I'm a self-love advocate and what self-love means to me, why music is so effective when learning a language, and if I've ever thought about opening a special social media account geared towards Chinese audiences. So enjoy this interview and let me know what you thought about it in the comments.
Does your music creation draw any inspiration from your children?
Yeah, definitely. So when I started writing songs for children, I had written a couple of songs before, but kind of just for fun. I never considered myself to be a songwriter until I started recording an album of songs for my kids that we just sang at night at bedtime. But they weren't songs that I wrote. They were just songs that I liked. And during the process of recording that album, I wrote a couple of songs. It just kind of happened naturally. And yeah, so when I wrote those songs, it was with the purpose of sharing a message for my children, telling them things that I wanted them to keep with them for their whole lives. And so from then on, all of the songs I've written have to do with what message I want to pass on to my kids. So they're 100% my inspiration.
Yeah, do you mean the album Love is Everywhere? Because I love this album so much.
Yes,
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
yeah, in
All of
which
those songs.
music is always very warm and heartening. I mean, can you share your inspirations when you create this album? Especially
Yeah,
because your children?
for sure. Yeah. Some of the songs, um, like the song Little Bird, I wrote just one day we were sitting in our garage and there's just a little bird hopping around and I
Yeah.
just like made up a song, just a short little thing. And then when we would go for walks, we would sing the song together and then I would ask them, what should happen next in the song? So we'd kind of create it together. I created the song Garbage Truck because my boys were obsessed with the garbage truck for at least 5 years. Every time the garbage truck came down our street, they would stop whatever they were doing and run like crazy to our gate where they could see the garbage truck passing and they would say, bye, and just like
Really?
yelling. And it was like a thing every single time. So that's why I wrote the song Garbage Truck. And then my other song, so, you have to put in some fun songs for kids. Kids are silly, kids love fun things. I think for me, anyways, there should be a balance between like the serious messages and then like the fun, silly stuff.
Yeah,
So, yeah. And then the other songs, so every song has its own story. Hi, Hey, Hello, I wrote because I follow another music educator named Stephanie Level, and she often does songwriting challenges for her audience. And so one of her challenges was write a greeting song.
yeah.
And so I was like, I'm going to write a greeting song, sure. And then I just wrote Hi, Hey, Hello in like, I don't know, 30 minutes. It was like so fast. I didn't think about it that much. It was just for fun. And then I
Really?
posted it. I posted the video on my Instagram and everyone was like, I love it. It's amazing. And I was like,
Yeah.
it's so simple. It's so like just so simple, but everyone loved it. And it's definitely my most popular song
Yeah,
now. um,
definitely.
and then, so that one was just kind of for fun. Another, actually, Stephanie also challenged me later on to kind of a person to person songwriting challenge. And that one, and she said, let's each think of 5 song names. And then I'll draw one out of a hat and we'll both write a song with that name.
Wow.
And so I wrote down some song names and I had wanted to write a song about gratitude because it was something that really changed my life. And so, and I had thought before, it would be nice to write a song called Grateful Heart. And so I wrote down that was one of my song titles. We put them in a hat and she drew out that name. And so I wrote a song called Grateful Heart and she wrote a song called Grateful Heart. And that has now become another of my hugely popular songs. So, sometimes things just happen, you don't expect them to. It just happens and it just works out. The song Love is Everywhere. I love nature. So I would always take my boys out into nature. And I'm just always inspired by just every little thing, the bugs and the sunshine and the blue sky. Like everything is just so beautiful to me. And that's kind of just like my love song to nature. But not just nature, like people too. I kind of talk about, a lot of different things in that song. And that I decided to name the album Love is Everywhere.
Yeah.
Not because of the song, not because I thought it was like the best song on the album or something, but it was like, what? Oh yeah. And I recorded this album during the pandemic. And when I was thinking about what do I want to call this album, I thought about my songs and which line from which song would be just the message that I want to share right now.
Yeah.
And as you know, during that time, there was so much fear and division and illness and just like a lot of like heavy negative stuff.
Yeah.
It was so intense. And, even though those were all very present, I wanted to tell the world, even though those things are there, so is love. Love is always there. It's always with us. We always have a choice, are we going to choose love or are we going to choose fear? And, I would go for walks during the pandemic with my kids and I would still see the birds and the sunshine and the flowers and like love was still there, it didn't go away. And so that was like in a very short 3 words, that was the message I felt was most important to give at that time. And it's just something that I'm always gonna believe and want to spread. So that was kind of the inspiration behind the name of the album. And yeah, as I said before, each song has its own story of how it was written. And so that's that.
Yeah, because from your songs, I just learn a lot about love. Maybe it's just the small things, but the thing you want to impart, maybe I think it's all about love, right? So it's just like love is everywhere. And from your social media profile, I see that you are also a self-love advocate. So, that's quite impressive because for me, it's more like a topic. So, can you define what self love means to you and explain why you believe self love is so important?
Yes, it's like my favorite thing to talk about. So I have a lot to share. So self-love was something that changed my life so much that it just became my biggest passion to talk about and write about in my songs. So before I got into the whole self-love thing, I spoke to myself in kind of a negative way, and I didn't really realize that it was me. I thought it was kind of like an automatic thing that happened that I couldn't control. So I would look in the mirror and I'd see myself, or I'd see a picture of myself, and automatically what I would think was something negative, like you're ugly or you don't look good, or anything, something negative. And if I made a mistake as a mother, I'd think I'm not a good mother. If my singing, especially, I was very, very critical of my singing voice. I thought my singing voice is not good enough. I'm always making mistakes. Everyone thinks I'm horrible. I was always like putting myself down. Yeah. I was putting myself down so much. But I thought that's just my thoughts and then when I started discovering this concept of self-love and affirmations, I started to speak to myself in a different way. Whenever that thought would come, because sometimes they are automatic, whenever that thought would come, I would notice it and then say, no, And then I would replace it with a positive statement. So if I saw a picture of myself and I thought, oh, I look so ugly, and I was like, nope, I am beautiful inside and out. And so I always had like an answer
You are
for
beautiful,
myself. I am. Thank
yeah,
you.
sure.
I didn't believe that. Now I do. So yeah, it was just about replacing those negative thoughts with positive thoughts.
Mm.
And the more I did that, the less the negative thoughts came. And now it's very rare for me to have a negative thought like that. And if I do, I just replace it with a positive thought. So you have to train your mind to do that. And it takes time and it takes a lot of repetition, but you kind of have to like brainwash yourself in a good way. You have to say those positive things to yourself, and eventually that is what becomes normal.
Yeah.
That's what happened to me. And I know everyone's different, and but that's what happened for me, and it just really changed my whole life. It just made me happier. I knew that I could be happier in my life, but I didn't know how. And when I started loving myself, especially with my thoughts, I became much happier, and I was able to forgive myself more as well. I really, whenever I made a mistake or did something that I thought wasn't good enough, I would just forgive myself. And that's, that just like makes you feel so much lighter. And then I realized the more I loved myself and forgave myself, the easier it was to love and forgive other people as well.
Yeah.
And then because I've always been very passionate. I want everyone to love everyone, but I didn't really realize that the best thing is for you to first love yourself, because then it's easier to love other people. So for me, self-love is first starts in your mind, in your thoughts. What are you thinking about yourself? Are you aware of what you're thinking about yourself? And then changing that over time. It doesn't happen just like that. You have to spend time training yourself to think positively. So there's that. And then there's also, speaking, whatever comes out of your mouth. Are you putting yourself down? Are you saying those things? Maybe you're talking to a friend and something happened and you said, oh, I'm so dumb or something. Like I stopped saying anything negative. I was just like, no, I'm not going to speak any negative words about myself. And then, so that helps. And then your actions. Are you doing things just because you want to make someone happy? Or are you doing it because you want to do it? Because I'm a recovering people pleaser. I grew up always wanting to make everyone happy. I'll do whatever it takes to make you happy. But that ends up not making you happy. And then you start feeling resentful and things. So self-love to me is, really taking a minute before you make a decision and saying, why am I doing this? Am I doing this because I want to do it? Or am I doing it because I'm afraid of what the other person is going to think if I don't do it? So it's like honoring yourself, honoring your boundaries, and maybe, being okay with disappointing other people and not doing what they want you to do because it's not good for you. It's okay, and so it's self-love for me is the thoughts, the words, and the actions. And I'm definitely not perfect at everything. I think we never reach a place where everything is perfect with that. I'm still working on my boundaries, but also being okay with that,
I think we need to forgive ourselves first, then we can just love others, right?
Yes,
sometimes
exactly.
we need to love ourselves firstly, because for me, maybe in the past I was kind of like you, like I just didn't know what should to do, what should do, and I don't know how to deal with something I'm not good at. But later I just think maybe it's all fine, I think. So I just forgive myself, and when I forgive myself, I can love others. I have the ability to love others. If I don't love myself, I don't know how to love others. So I think the essence of your album Love is Everywhere, and I really love one of your songs that called We're All the Same Inside, right? I really love this song. I think it's
Oh, I'm so glad.
inspired me a lot, and I just teach this song to my students, and I just tell them to um, think things that we're different on the outlook, but we're all the same inside. I really love this song.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's such an important message. It's so, like, for maybe people like you and me, it's very basic. It's like a truth. It's already a truth inside of us, but for some people, it's not.
Yeah.
And for children, they're kind of figuring it out. They're listening to what people are saying. They're seeing what adults are doing. If they hear an adult saying something negative about someone who looks different, someone who is a different color, it's very easy for them to think, oh, okay, then that's the truth. So it's really important for them to hear adults saying to them, hey, we are all the same, and singing that. And then, when they're able to sing it as well, it gets even more truthful to the children. When they are able to sing those words, it gets inside more. So yeah, I'm so glad that song happened because of another project I was doing with my friend Trini, and we were leading these mindfulness sessions, and every week we would have a new mindfulness session based on a topic, and one of the topics was equality, and so that's how that song came about, was through that. And yeah, so
That's great. So, many English teachers in China love using your songs, include me, as part of our teaching, such as Hi, Hey, Hello, which is a very popular opening song for us, with these gestures. So, what do you think are the benefits of using English songs for learning the language?
yeah, I love using music for teaching language because there's just something magical about music that helps us to remember things. It's a combination of repetition,
Yeah.
of the notes, putting words to notes to music, with rhyming, the simplicity of it. And since when we sing a song, we repeat it over and over. If we sing a song many times, we repeat it many times. And that is like helping, I think it helps the muscles in our mouths.
Yeah.
Our mouth has all kinds of muscles, and we are training those muscles how to say the things. So if we're repeating a song over and over, and it's fun and we're enjoying it, first of all, that emotion helps us to enjoy. When we enjoy things, we just learn better.
Yeah, that's
so you're enjoying it, you're repeating it, and especially with repetitive songs like Hi, Hey, Hello, like you say Hi, Hey, Hello, how are you? And then you're saying that again and again. You probably say that phrase like, I don't know, 20 times in the song or something. So already when you sing it once, you're training your mouth. Hi, hey, hello, how are you? And then you sing it again. And so you're repeating. And so you're training the muscles in your mouth how to say those words. And it's helping you in your mind to remember because of the repetition and because of that magical quality music has to help us remember. I always use the example, like, we remember a song from our childhood. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O, or whatever. Like, we remember that until we're like 80 years old and beyond. But maybe there's a poem or a story, we can't say it word for word, unless we've studied it really, really hard. Maybe some people are really good at poems, but I really think that it's much easier to remember a song than it is anything else. So yeah, I think that music and songs are excellent for teaching children. They're fun and they are effective.
Yeah, I totally agree. So, have you ever considered opening a social media account for targeted Chinese audiences? Because I think it'd be, it'd be wonderful, I think.
Yeah, I would love that. I do have a fan named Anne, and she has translated some of my songs,
Oh,
I
really?
think into Mandarin. And so she has some lyric videos. It's my song with the translation in Mandarin, I believe.
Does she put your videos on YouTube? Translated
Yes.
Mandarin? Oh, I
Yeah,
see.
she has a couple. But beyond that, I never thought about, creating a special channel just targeted at that audience. But I would love to. I think it would be amazing. And I would love, if you have any suggestions about that or people I can talk to, it would be so great. And I'd actually love to hear your ideas about what you think would be good for that.
Wow, that sounds fantastic. We look forward to seeing more of your work. If you want to open a social media account for Chinese audiences, please let me know. I would be there for you if you need any help. All right?
All right, definitely, definitely.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time today, Lindsay. It was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for your time.
Yes, you too. You're so welcome.